All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk about some comments made by Justin Jefferson after he got his new deal, talked about leadership, as well as the Vikings quarterback battle that is going on. So, this is what he had to say. Just being the highest paid just comes with being a leader. I always said I always preached it. The money never was a big thing for me. It was mostly just solidifying myself as a top receiver in the league. Of course, I want to be holding that gold jacket when my career is all over with. It's going to happen. My contract talks are going to happen when you're performing at this type of level. But just like I said plenty and plenty of times, there's more to it than just money for me. I want to be the best player to ever do it. In order to do that, I've got to keep performing at my highest ability. With that, money is going to be involved. But that wasn't my main concern. I feel like just with last year, with all the things that happened, all the quarterback changes that happened, that didn't really affect me that much. It really didn't matter who was going to be able to throw the ball. I'm always confident in myself and confident in who was throwing the ball to give me those type of opportunities. And let me just go out and make a play for the team. I talked to JJ, meaning J.J.McCarthy. As soon as he got drafted, I told him confidence is key, just coming into the league with confidence and being able to have that leadership just right off the bat, being a rookie. There's going to be people to come and help. Of course, I'm going to be the main person to be in his ear and try to teach him and try to prepare for him and try to prepare him for what we're going to go through. But I told him this league is tough. It's not an easy job to come out here and perform at the highest ability, especially as a rookie, but I'll definitely be that main person that he can lean on and help throughout the way. So a lot to say there. Didn't even mention anything about Sam Darnold, but he did talk about talking to J.J. McCarthy and trying to encourage him and be a good teammate, and that's what you're gonna have to because the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy is their future. They look at him as the future, and they got Justin Jefferson secured. They're hoping that they have their quarterback, so you could see some JJ to JJ connections. But yeah, did have a lot to say. Talked about how money isn't about everything, and yeah, it depends on who you talk to. I think Justin Jefferson, yeah, he did say money isn't everything, but he did want to get paid. That is part of it. So I mean, I don't know how true that is. I mean, we'll probably never get the real answer, but he talked about being a leader and at the end of the day, he wants to be the best to ever do it and have that gold jacket, and that's what a lot of players want. So no, you can appreciate that he wants to be great, and he already is. I mean, he is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, and he's going to continue to do that. And I thought what was interesting was him talking about the quarterback carousel that was the 2023 Vikings last year, because you went from Kirk Cousins to Joshua Dobbs to Jaron Hall for a little bit to Nick Mullins. It was all over the place last year. And that combined with Justin Jefferson missing some time, and I think, only playing in 10 games, he still had over 1,000 yards, which is very impressive. And that just shows you the talent that he possesses. And I think no matter who's playing quarterback, whether it's Sam Darnold to start the year, whether it's J.J. McCarthy, I think what's going to happen is Sam Darnold's going to start, and then J.J. McCarthy's going to get eased into it, I think, as soon as this year. But again, I'm not the Vikings, so I don't really know what their thought process is there. But I think Sam Darnold is going to start, at least start the year, and then J.J. McCarthy's eventually going to take over. But that's my opinion. Yeah, I think regardless of who's starting, Justin Jefferson is going to put up monster numbers because that's the receiver that he is. I mean, you go back and you talk about receivers like DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, look at the quarterbacks that, he had to play with. I mean, the list goes on and on. Matt Schaub and Brock Osweiler, T.J. Yates, Brandon Weeden, I think. Deshaun Watson, Tom Savage. I mean, the list goes on and on with the amount of quarterbacks that he played with. But you know what? He still produced. And I'm just talking about, with Houston, because I know, he played with Kyler most of the time, but, Kyler got hurt. And you had Colt McCoy playing some games. But, yeah, I mean, that's one receiver that I could think of that played with a bunch of receivers. And I think about Devontae Adams, too. I think, like, 2016, well, his rookie season, he was good. Then 2015, Packers fans were done with him. Then 2016, started to play better with Rodgers. But then 2017, Rodgers fractures his collarbone. And he had to play with Brett Hundley. And he was still playing well. And look at with the Raiders, these last couple of seasons. I mean, Derek Carr, they bench him. He has to play with Jarrett Stidham. He still put up good numbers. And, he had to play with Jimmy Garoppolo and Aiden O'Connell last year. But, still, again, put up good numbers. So, if you're a great receiver, you can play with anybody. For the most part. And Justin Jefferson, I mean, that's the thing. I guess people were curious on, well, there's no Kirk Cousins. How is he going to do when he comes back? And he was fine. And actually, we'll take a look at Jefferson's stats down the stretch last season when he came back. Because he did still, he still put up, I think there were some games where he didn't really, light up the stat sheet, but again, he still finished with over 1,000 yards. Again, only playing in 10 games. Imagine what his numbers would have been had he played every single game. But, yeah, so he came back against the Raiders on December 10th, but then he got hurt again. He had 2 receptions for 27 yards. But, yeah, then he was back the following week. He had 7 receptions for 84 yards. Against the Lions, the first time, he had 6 receptions for 141 yards and a touchdown. Then against the Packers, he had 5 receptions for 59 yards. And then the final game of the regular season, 12 receptions for 192 yards and a touchdown. And that was with Nick Mullins. Pretty much all these games were with Nick Mullins. The Packers game was interesting because they started Jaron Hall and then they switched to Nick Mullins, and the game was out of reach at that point. Yeah, that whole situation didn't really make sense, but that happened. But yeah, Jefferson still had good games, even with Nick Mullins playing quarterback. So I think with Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy, Justin Jefferson is still going to put up good numbers. So, but you know what? I do like what he said. I'll bring it back now to, him talking to J.J. McCarthy. Like I said, he's turning into the veteran player now. Right, we could call him a veteran now, I guess. You want to give that rookie quarterback confidence. Because, there's going to be some growing pains, and you're going to face some adversity. But, when you got your teammates encouraging you and backing you up, that's got to give you confidence. And I've said it all along. I think J.J. McCarthy has ended up in a good situation. I don't know how good he's going to be because I hear a lot of conflicting things. I hear, he wasn't really asked to do much in Michigan. And then you hear people, praise him that he's got this big arm and he's going to be good. I got to see it for myself. The NFL is different. But like I said, if he's going to be successful, he ended up in a good situation. Because I think Kevin O'Connell is a good offensive mind. You have the best receiver in football. You got a decent receiver in Jordan Addison. That's ascending. T.J. Hockenson, hopefully he comes back and he's playing to start the season because he got hurt late in the year. And you also have Aaron Jones to rely on. Aaron Jones could still run the football. So, that takes pressure off of your young quarterback. So, like I said, Aaron Jones, I don't think is going to be there for the long term, but still, he's in a good situation. So, like I said, you're throwing to the best wide receiver in the NFL. So, but you got to like what he said. that, they're going to give him confidence. And, they're going to be behind him. And, yeah, there's going to be some rough stretches. But, being in the right situation, you overcome that. And maybe he turns out to be the guy. So, and you know what? The Vikings, they might not start him right away. It could be Sam Darnold that starts, which that could be the best thing for him. But only time will tell what ends up happening. But yeah, I just wanted to comment on what Jefferson had to say. Let me know what you guys think about what he had to say, and what kind of season do you think Justin Jefferson's going to have. And it's, yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting because this is going to be the first time, well, I guess the first full year where there's no more Kirk Cousins. And that's the only quarterback that Jefferson has known up until last year. But like I said, he's still going to put up good numbers. But it's going to be interesting now. No Kirk Cousins at all the whole year, and it's Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. So we'll see how that goes. So we are going to take our third break of the show, and then when we come back, we'll talk about Stephon Diggs, some comments he made about his departure from Buffalo, and I'll give you my opinion on it when we come back from break. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.